Hey, dog fans, welcome back to Fourth and Inches, a Husky podcast. I am your host, Leah, and I'm joined by three of our fearsome foursome, Trevor Mueller and Coach V. Jake is camping today, I think, right? Yeah? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
We are recording on Wednesday, August 26th. And if you skipped work to catch the M's today only to watch them lose 6-0 to the Phillies, you've come to the right place. Today we are diving into the defense. What does Ryan Walters have in store for fans with this year's version of Death Row Dogs? A quick reminder before we start, make sure to download these episodes and please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your preferred platform. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button at Fourth and Inches, a Husky podcast J3X. It helps other dog fans find our content. You can also support us financially on Patreon at Fourth and Inches, a Husky podcast. The money may go to something like making sure Coach, who doesn't fly up for losses, comes to at least one big home conference game, or ensuring Trevor has enough rubber ducks to put in the urinals at Autzen in November. So we'll go ahead and get started right away. A few kids have tested the waters in the NFL and are trying to make a play to come back to the NCAA. I think I know where we all stand on this, but Trevor, let's start with you. Do you think an aging Drew Brees should come back and play for Purdue? He may have a year left. Who knows? What do you think, Trev?
uh, do you guys remember the Colin Cowherd where it's like, LeBron, we got this. You can go now. 27-year-olds. The young guys got this. You can go now.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us aren't meant to play professional football. I was one of them. I learned earlier than you did. I learned in 8th grade. But eventually we all learn. So, welcome to the workforce, everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Asian Drew Brees aside, um, yeah, this has been grinding my gears for a long time, and I can sound like an old man. I don't really care. I don't want to see guys who just are afraid to move out of mom's, basement, aka the football dorms. Um, just hanging on for dear life because they got cut in an NFL training camp. Or the latest thing where they're just saying, hey, cut me now, don't wait, because I have to go enroll in classes if I don't make this team. There, there's just, this is the dumbest timeline. And, the NCAA obviously has no power to do anything about it, but I'm so glad that the conferences are taking some initiative right now.
Yeah, how about the Big Ten being the leaders yet again in all things college athletics? Go Big Ten. We come out first, we say it, the SEC follows suit. It's like the best conference in the nation is doing the right thing, and the lesser conferences are following suit.
The Pac-12 was going to do it, but they're still holding open tryouts. So, sorry. I've been trolling Wazoo fans all day in my spare moments on Twitter, and they are so fired up. And I just only am like, I don't care about you guys, and we don't care at all.
The one that you sent us was pretty funny.
Everything I
Yeah.
say.
Speaking of the NCAA rule, I'm going to shout out our buddy at the other former podcast, JCap, and he quote tweeted or sent it to our group chat that basically like Dan Lanning is saying like, hey, if you declared for the NFL, you can't come back to college. I'm sorry. And his comment was, the worst person that you know just made a good point. So
Shout out Jacob.
exactly. Shout out JCap. We love you. We'll go into the meat of the episode tonight. We're going to talk about defense. We've had a lot of experience and talent all over the field defensively and a very experienced defensive coordinator. The team will have a relatively easy September and endure some tough teams as the season progresses rather. Defense is undoubtedly the strength of this team. Coach, what are you most excited about for our defense?
The defensive line, just because, no, I honestly think the linebackers are my favorite aspect of the defense right now. But I'm looking over the depth chart and I'm looking at a, dare I say, plethora of good defensive line depth. And the news that Kai McClendon is back at practice this week, the Mississippi State transfer who tore his ACL the end of 2025, and he's healthy and he's looking good. That guy, oh my God, if he's healthy, wow, what a depth piece. Leah Davis, one of my favorites from back when he was being recruited. The heavy-handed Hoss himself has really come into his own. Jacob Lane, veteran edge guy who just kind of like nobody gives him enough credit, and he's just hustling all over the field. Derek Coleman Brusa, at 295 pounds, is a true freshman monster who's just going to be the next big thing. And listen, I can name everybody off on this depth chart. I know, Russell Davis is back in the mix. Darren Conley, Logan George are like, transfer guys. Omar Khan, I wanted to mention him tonight. I think Omar Khan is going to get some run with the big heavy front guys. And I think Omar Khan is going to really impress some people. But, Ramzak, Frian, the kid from Bethel,
Hawaii.
the kid from Bethel, 2 years in a row, we get a Bethel stud. The coach is coming out and saying that he's going to be a starter as a true freshman. That scares me because, I feel about true freshmen starting on the defensive line or on the edge. But just lightning in a bottle, that kid's a freak, and he's going to just get better with time. So huge, huge, huge things that we're going to see in the next few years from not only the established guys, but this freshman class coming in. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. So you're starting off with defensive line. Let's go ahead and get into the defensive line. It sounds like we've got a lot of depth. What is, like, dumb it down for us? Like, what does depth allow us to do?
Because these guys are in car crashes every single play. And you can't get by with just a starting four or a group of five, group of five. Yeah, bad reference. Sorry, crew.
Six now.
But you go up and down the depth chart and that guy got some playing time last year. Devin Hyde is a kid who has a lot of potential, and he's seen feet a little bit. Victor Sanchez, T.I. Umakase was one of my favorite recruits the last 3 years, and I just could not believe that he came into our program with all the offers that he had. I feel like he may get on the field this year. He may. It's tough because it's so deep. But next year, I don't know if he's not going to play 80% of the snaps. So I don't think he's going to sit all year. But I think that dude is going to be a killer. And he's at the back of the line right now, which is crazy.
So basically means that, like, depth, obviously, when we think about a year, 2 years down the line, it means that somebody's coming in and getting a lot more snaps next year. It's not their first time.
Yeah, just keeping guys fresh too. The Seahawks' first Super Bowl run in 2014, those guys were playing like low percentages, like 70% snaps, 68% snaps, and they were just rotating guys in constantly. Michael Bennett was all over the defensive line, and Cliff Averill, and then just the guys they had on the interior were just a lot of rotation, and nobody got worn out. You see with the Seahawks now, just a loaded room where just guys are coming in and out of the lineup. So the best thing you can do for your big guys is keep them fresh.
Well, look at 2024 when it was Fatu Tuatele with like a half a peck and Jacob Bandis trying to run down some of the mobile quarterbacks that Washington had to face. And they just got eaten alive, right? And it's really interesting, specifically the defensive line. This is, how there's been some comps to the 2022 team where this team could make a run, but, if everything goes right and everybody sticks around, this could be a special 2023 for us, 2027. Everybody that's on the roster right now, except one, would technically be eligible for another season. And that could be something that, NIL could help with somebody like Leah Davis, who's clearly going to be an NFL player at some point. The question is, going with the depth right now is the court ruling against Uyalungalele, and if he's going to be able to suit up for his fifth season or not. Even so, there's guys that, the guys that they brought in, other than the freshmen who, coach, you mentioned, the transfers that come in got serious playing time at their former stops, where they were, which one, the one from Sacramento State.
Yeah, I didn't even mention Deshaun Watts
Yeah, Deshaun Watts, a guy that played a ton of snaps and was a really, really big contributor to that team last year,
and Isaiah
comes in.
Ward also, the
Right.
returning guy. But I mean, there's just so many names to remember.
Right. And so like there's not this defense is going to be so predicated on stopping the run, because the reality is we're in the Big Ten, and a lot of these teams, specifically the ones that we're going to be playing at home, going to be very run heavy offenses. And you have the beef up the front, and you have the depth to be able to stick with them for the entirety of a game, where you go to Iowa a couple of years ago, and you just run out of bodies, and then you just get run over. This team won't get run over this year. I could almost guarantee it. The teams that make me nervous, and we've already talked about it a little bit, are the teams that can be more balanced to throw the ball a little bit more. But even so, like, this roster is loaded. And outside, obviously, I want you to listen to this podcast, but College Football with Sam, that's a great podcast. He goes really deep into a lot of different topics, and he has Ryan Walters is like the seventh or eighth best defensive coordinator in the country. And he's very high on this defense, just looking through what they can do, whether that's roster and scheme. Ryan Walters doesn't change the things that he does. He gets the guys that he needs to be able to run his system and beat teams with a roster like Illinois. Can you imagine what he can do with Washington? And look where we are now in just year
Question:
two of Ryan Walters. Yeah.
Who's number 7? Can I give fans a perspective about who might be ahead of him? Do you remember?
I mean, you're looking at the top defenses in the country at this point. Ohio
Georgia,
State,
Ohio State, Oregon.
yes. hmm Not Oregon. He's actually, it's kind of funny. He's very low. He's high on Dan Lanning. He's pretty low on the new coordinators. But Lupoy was up there, before he took Adam Muhammad and went to Cal.
You took a coffee cup? What?
Kind of
Never
fact,
forget. So we want to move on to the edge room. How do we feel about that room in general? Were we gonna get more sacks this year? Didn't feel like we got a lot last couple of years.
yeah, the thing is, we're still lacking the big time top 10 draft pick kind of guy. I think it's going to be by committee. The health of, I have not kept up on the health of Russell Davis. I know that losing him last year was kind of a big deal. A kid that's, from here, and I've seen him play in person. He was having such a great year a couple years ago at the end, and then, obviously the injury kind of wiped out last year. Jacob Lane, again, just sort of like the high motor guy who's all over the field. He's chasing down plays from behind. You gotta love him. Um, but yeah, like Ramzak is a freshman, and he's going to start. The coaches have said that. Obviously, they see the upside, but I wouldn't count on him to be like an 80% snaps kind of guy. I think he's going to situationally. I think they're going to protect him a little bit. And it's a bunch of like young guys, like I mentioned before, like Devin Hyde and Sanchez Hernandez and just some guys can bounce around a little bit, obviously. I don't think Derek Coleman Brusa is going to play a ton of edge, but I definitely feel like in some of the heavier packages, he's going to set the edge while they bring the big, other big guys in like Omar Khan. Um, as far as sacks, I think a lot of it is going to be predicated on interior pressure and just creative blitz schemes and just kind of keeping people off balance.
I think you're right. I think there's some interesting pieces that uh I mean, you got edge setters, right? You got like a future guy in JD Hill who's, I don't know how much he's going to play this year, but he's going to get some snaps because everybody can play. There's no red shirt to burn, right? But you have some guys that have come from some big schools, whether it's health or wrong fit, in a Hayden Moore or Logan George, which is a really interesting one because health was Logan George's problem when he was at Ohio State. Now he's at Washington. Who knows? But this edge room is going to be really weird too because I think you're probably going to see some of those linebackers pop in there at times to work or like what you're saying, more of like being the pass rush. Um, Whether that's like, everybody kind of, you saw X-Ray Alexander do it last year already. So like, I think that room's going to be really interesting how they work it. And I think again, they're going to force you to beat them with the arm and get kind of creative how they get to the quarterback because they have to get to him.
Right.
So where you think we're gonna get to them more?
I think so. I think that the defensive line is going to make things really hard. Like you think of the really good Chris Peterson teams where you had these interior linemen making a rush. I mean, obviously Vita Vea is the easiest one, but Levi Onwuzurike was getting creating a lot of havoc in the middle as well. Of course, I love me some Greg Gaines. He was more of a run stuffer, but every once in a while, they'd collapse a pocket on somebody and make it impossible. And some of these teams that have, I mean, I'm actually worried about, Washington State's quarterback, Pinnock, or, any of those first three teams with offensive lines that are just going to be so overmatched by that middle that they're going to be running for their lives. Big Ten is going to be a little bit tougher, but some of these teams that Washington should be favored in, I think they can really dominate that line. And if you get Iowa to a stalemate on the line with the edge in your D line, you're doing a really good job.
Yeah.
What's
Go
the
ahead.
thing? The thing about the pass rush is it's really hard to rush the passer in 3rd and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And when people are running the ball consistently on you, it's all hands on deck. We got to try to make sure they're stopping the ball, and then you get play action off of that. You've got the RPO game that's always, modern football. But you want to talk about we will just talk about like the dynamic linebacker group. Their jobs are infinitely more easy, exponentially, if you will. If you
I
have
need a bell.
if you have really good play up front. I know it sounds stupid. It's like football 101, but if, as somebody who played a mediocre linebacker in high school, we had some big dudes up front and they just ate up all the blocks and we could just kind of run freely and make tackles and do what we wanted to do. But if you don't have that in front of you, you're getting pushed downfield and you're engaged with blockers 7 yards downfield. It's not going to work. So I think like just keeping these 3rd and long situations, guys are going to be able to tee off. Our pass rush should be a lot better. I just
Well,
don't.
having Russell Davis and Isaiah Ward healthy, if they're both healthy, does a lot. And Fruin coming on is kind of like this star that is literally being born this fall. I think there's nothing but good news when you get more talent and athletic on the edges.
A star is born. Shout out Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
Hey!
Hey. Well, hopefully Turf Toe doesn't hit us this year in the edge
Oh,
room.
Oh my
son of a
God.
bitch, Leah.
Sorry.
I don't want to hear Turf Toe again.
Shout out Zach Durfee. So we'll move on to linebackers. I know how Coach feels about linebackers. He used to play one on TV or in high school, middling. But Trev, we'll start with you this time. What do you think about the linebacking room?
It's the best position group on the team, and it's not particularly that. Well, there's some really good. This is so deep. You're going to have guys as fresh as possible because there's all Big Ten players across the board on this group. Buda Ukta, obviously, X-Ray Alexander, Jacob Manu, and Zadris Rainey Saleh. Rainey Saleh he's so good that he's a true freshman playing with this elite unit already. And now he's coming back as a sophomore. I think that he's your big play guy. Those four, I can't think of I can't think of a time where you had four like that. I think of maybe the BBK time where you had Ben Burke-Irvin and then you had the two others in front of him in 2016. That was a good unit as well. But this four, there's no drop off. It doesn't feel like. And Coach, I'll let you get more into like maybe what they do a little bit differently, how they can be used differently, because I don't know that well. I know that those guys make plays, and they're going to be, especially if they're clean, they're going to make the right reads. They take great angles. They make tackles. This is an embarrassment of riches for this program.
We talk about depth and how early last year that we started losing guys. And, Buddha was that guy that got hurt super early. Did he get hurt in the Apple Cup?
Yes.
Yeah, just awful. The thing is, if you look at the depth chart here, it can go one of a million ways, but X3 Alexander's got to be on the field. Jacob Manu has got to be on the field. But Randy Sale's the best freaking linebacker prospect I've seen in like a decade. Like he's special, he's different. We've said it a million times before. I can't put him on the bench. I'm sorry, like Jacob Manu might have to rotate in. And Buddha's going to have to rotate in. And then you got young Donovan Robinson Jr., who's a freak. And he's got to wait his turn. And that's crazy. And then Isaiah Tokyo, I always screw up the names. He's just waiting back there, trying to, find different places. This is a deep linebacker core. You hope everybody stays healthy. But if they lose a guy, if they lose like one guy, they're not going to be, oh, shoot, what do we do? We're not putting this together with like duct tape.
Yeah. And if you look at it too, Buddha's a fifth year. Jacob Manu's a fifth year. That's a lot of experience right there, plus just the talent that you have. It's really cool. I mean, X-Ray Alexander obviously is super cool, being a local kid, getting to transfer back and playing for Washington and having a huge role, I think is super cool. This is, again, the best unit they have. I don't know what else to say other than like running teams are going to have a huge problem against this unit. And they can move. Like, Zadris is great in coverage.
My question is, so we have a lot of talent. It sounds like it's almost like an embarrassment of riches of talent. Does that concern you moving forward about how many kids we have and not enough playing time for them and potential for transfer?
It's funny. Guys can stay longer.
Hmm.
As long as you're here and you're producing, this coaching staff has done a really good job of finding talent. Obviously, getting Buddha from Washington State, that's, just a step up. And then you have Jacob Manu coming with the staff. But you've seen staffs struggle to keep Washington kids in Washington, and they got Zadris to stay here, and they got those other guys that Coach has already mentioned. And what was that? I thought one of the transfers that was really going to hurt to lose was the one from Mater Dei. What was his name?
Kamari House?
No, the other one. The year later. Love it when I bring somebody up and I forget their name. Anyway, he was a middle linebacker prospect for us that we really liked. He played for us. He struggled a little bit, and now he's gone. And they've been able to not only replace but upgrade that position. So I trust this staff. We'll see how it goes this year, but I'm really high on this stuff right now, specifically a lot of the development that they're doing and obviously the recruiting. So no, I'm not worried about it.
I think that it's going to sort itself out. And you always think like, oh, hey, well, we've got a lot of depth here, and these guys are going to have to wait their turn. Some of these guys might switch positions. Some of these guys are going to get extensive playing time on special teams, and you can put it on film. It's going to work out. We're going to lose a couple guys, like Manu and Buddha and X3. X3 is actually a senior technically, so he can probably stick around an extra year, but I think the NFL might be calling. So all I know is that Zay reminds me about how excited I got back in the old days with guys like Jaime Fields and Dave Hoffman flying around, James Clifford, and then Hillary Butler, that poor kid, the stud from Tacoma, who was like 6'2", 6'3", 240 pounds, flies all over the field, and he had to wait till his senior freaking season until all those guys graduated and moved on to the NFL to actually get in and make plays. But
Had an NFL career though.
yes, he did. Zay is my dude. I just cannot say enough good things about him. Please, football gods, protect him with all of your might and let this kid just go out there and wreak havoc on the Pac-10. I'm sorry, on the Big Ten. Hey, he's gonna do that in the Apple Cup anyway. It's fine.
We're gonna cancel coach for getting the conference wrong. Crap.
I started thinking back to the old days, Dave Hoffman, Hillary Butler,
Oh,
and yeah, I didn't even say the Pac-12 guys. So
That is true. That was a long one.
that's at least a 15 to 20 year callback. All right, let's pivot to the
The
cornerback
name
room.
was Devin Bryant. That's what I was trying to remember.
Kevin Bryant, yeah.
Cornerbacks, guys. Trev, you want to go first? What are you excited about for the cornerbacks?
Uh, well, the cornerbacks, I guess in theory would be your weakest area, and it's not a weak area. That's the thing. Like, um, it's still going to be good. Obviously, you lose two NFL players, but you have the guy who's really kind of taken a lot of the headlines is Jerron Jones, and he's now up on a couple of freshman All-American sites. The question right now is Dylan Robinson going to be healthy? He's making like freak lists everywhere. And then you have Emmanuel Carnley from Arizona and then Virginia. Three big body corners that really look like they're going to kind of just fill in for the two guys, Takario Davis and Ephesians Prysock. So is there going to be some bumps? Maybe, but I mean, Dylan Robinson played a ton last year. Carnley's not a freshman. He's in his fourth year in college. So there's guys that are here that are going to get to play. And Jerron Jones has like forced himself into this rotation. So a place that was maybe, if we had this conversation even in the spring or even at the beginning of, in the beginning of August, this is the one area that's concerning. Obviously, they have to show it on the field, but as of right now, you feel pretty good about the position as a whole. You have three guys that you feel really good about, and then there's other guys like Rajon Duncan who are behind them that were like highly touted recruits that have been doing things in the fall, but are definitely that kind of that second string.
Elias Johnson as
Yep.
well.
Elijah Durr, I've heard about as well.
Oh yeah, true freshman. Yeah. I the
Rose Adams. I mean, come on.
Jerron Jones hype is legit, and everybody's kind of jumped on that. If you consume any of Roman's videos, content, whatever, that Christian Cable's talking about him. Everybody's talking about this kid. I went back. I was so excited about this kid during the last recruiting class. The first time I watched his huddle, I was like, "Oh, that's Trent." Like the way he's
Okay.
sticky, the way that he can just stay in your hip pocket and just stay with a receiver. That was what Trent McDuffie looked like as a senior in high school. Like he's not as maybe not as thick as Trent. He's got to put on some weight. I don't know what his top end speed is, but it's plenty good enough. But the agility, quickness, toughness, ball skills, he's got really good hands. He can take the ball away. He's going to have to go through the learning, curve. Obviously, there's guys out there in the Big Ten who can absolutely embarrass you on any given Saturday. But I don't even know if he's going to be the third corner. He might just be the starting guy, and Carnley or if Dylan has some kind of health issue, or if he's not 100%. I think this kid as a true freshman could be starting at corner for a ranked Big Ten team. And that's not a small thing.
No, it's not. It sounds like also it's really good that we're playing all of our games in September against either Patsy's, sorry Cougs, or Minnesota. So it's going to be really good for this particular unit to have a lot of practice at home against sort of Division One teams mostly, and get the practice and some of the wiggles out a little bit before they head to the Coliseum.
Right. And I was actually just looking, and Rashawn Clark is now labeled as a corner instead of a safety, which has always kind of been what he's played, as a guy in the slot. But like, he's so versatile. He's a huge, big playmaker guy that's going to be on the field at all times. As long as he's healthy, he's also going to be the return guy. But he's just an athletic freak. Um, it's really nice to see Washington continue to have elite corners again, where there's a lot of guys on this list that are going to be playing on Sundays, just like it was, before the DeBoer era, basically.
Love it. All right, let's finish up the defensive rooms and let's start with let's go off with safeties. Coach?
Is this? Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Before Coach, I'm going to let you go on this, but I am going to say, like, is this the most of all of the position groups? This has the least amount of like positional drama, but it has probably the most team drama. But I mean, take it away.
I mean,
Everybody's known who the stars are going to be since December.
the biggest and most pleasant surprise last year was Alex McLaughlin coming from NAU and just becoming a dude. And you're like, wait, what? And, I assume he's only going to be better this year, but that crazy SOB was just up at the line of scrimmage. He was in coverage. He was taking the ball away. He was coming up and getting tackles for loss. He's just everywhere. And I appreciate him. I love him. I don't know if he's going to have any more eligibility after this, but,
So you're four right now.
yeah, he's just a stud. And I just want him to stay healthy. I just want him to stay healthy because he's a big brain out there. He's very, intelligent. I'm sure he spent a lot of time last year getting the young guys lined up, coming in as a first year guy. Um, a kid that I saw down here, Dillard Allen, um, huge fan of him. I think year two is going to be like Big Ten, all Big Ten, honorable mention, second team, maybe, just getting those kind of like looks and those kind of votes and those accolades. I think his athleticism, he's so smooth. And seeing him in 7-on-7s and seeing him in, when he was in high school and then seeing what he did last year as a freshman, it just doesn't seem like anything bothers him. I remember sitting on the sideline at 7-on-7s with a bunch of our goofy kids, heckling him and saying, "Hey, what's up, 4-star? What's up, 4-star?" And he's just gliding around like he's just smiling the whole time. He's not talking trash to anybody. And then, there's a couple times where he came up and you're like, "Ooh, thank God this isn't tackle," because he's going to wipe somebody out. That's just what he does. I mean, he's an eraser. He can do a multitude of things. I'm a huge fan. I know we've got Paul Mankey in the depth. I know that Raheem Wright, I think, is going to be in the two deeps, except for there's this dude by the name of Gavin Day.
Gavin Day.
And Gavin Day reminds me of Greg Carruthers if Greg Carruthers was also Akeem Akbar. Gavin Day just looks like if he were a different person and he wasn't a football player, the mob could hire him part-time while he was still in high school to be an enforcer and to collect debts.
Yeah.
For bookies. He's just a scary mofo, like 6'3", 200-ish, flies around, athletic enough to do everything a safety can do, but also just he's gonna separate some shoulders in the next couple of years.
Yeah. Alex McLaughlin, obviously, what a awesome surprise, like you talked about, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Ryland Dillon Howard, the thing, like the little bit of drama has been how physical he's been, where the coaching staff has had to really kind of reel him back a little bit.
It's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have, because eventually in the next week or so, he's going to get to actually play somebody in a different uniform that he's allowed to hit, and that he's allowed to hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's going to do. This safety duo is is going to be elite. They're both going to be on lists at the end of the year. Ryan Walters is going to get awards because of these safeties, these linebackers, these defensive, the entire unit. But he uses them in such a great way that they're really able to show what they do. And I think you're right that McLaughlin's not going to have to be getting everybody lined up correctly. Paul Mankey's an interesting one because he is this is year 3 for him. He's done some special team stuff, and he's definitely that third guy right now. From kind of what I've heard from reading the reports. So again, it's a deep group, but if your top 2 stay healthy, it's an elite group.
That's amazing. You kind of
And
alluded to this, Trevor, like throughout the whole defense, any award winners, anybody that's going to stand out top to bottom on the defense. And you could, like you said, that like Ryan Walters and this defense would propel Ryan Walters into potentially defensive coordinator of the year, something like that. But
I think so. I think that there's a chance you could see. I mean, the all Big Ten first, second honorable mention teams are going to be flooded with purple W's. My only wondering is, are they not necessarily going to be first teamers, specifically some of those linebackers that we mentioned, because they aren't going to have the numbers that a team with, I think back to some of those guys in the with Iowa that were on the field all the time, and they had 100 plus tackles in a season, where Washington just has so much depth. But I think the numbers are going to be gaudy for some of these guys when it comes to some of the explosive plays, whether that's Rashawn Clark is a guy that's going to have a lot of interceptions. Alex McLaughlin is a guy who's going to, I don't know if the total tackles are going to be high, but you're going to have, I think he's going to break up a lot of passes. But I could see like a Lenius Davis getting some sort of accolades for how good he's going to be in the middle as well. So I think I basically hit every position group. There's going to be somebody from that list on every list.
Coach,
yeah,
what do you think?
when the a couple of these all conference preseason teams came out, not a lot of love for us in the first teams. And you can see like, there's guys like, on the D line, like Anthony Smith of Minnesota, who's just like an NFL dude. Amari Washington from Oregon is a kid that played at Chandler High School. He's the most immovable force I've ever seen in a high school game, and I coached in Florida. Uyunglele also at Oregon, like Mateo's he's a first round pick. But then you get down this list and you're like, okay, Elijah Hardy, Indiana, good linebacker, obviously. Tuatoi from Oregon, yeah. Isaiah Jones, Indiana as well. Daniel Wingate, Maryland. I don't know if Exree Alexander takes a backseat to any of those guys. And I think by the time that Rainey Sale has fully embraced the starting role and is made, he's not just a guy that like is going to make tackles. He's going to make splash plays. He's going to run out to the flat, buzz the flat, pick off the swing pass, and run for a touchdown. He's just going to do some really freakish stuff. Kai Perch, the kid that Oregon brought in, the safety, obviously a very good player, but Alex is a really good player too. There's just so many opportunities out there for our guys to sneak in, especially the second team. Because the media kind of controls all this. If we have a great year, if we win 10 games, obviously those honors are going to come. If we're 9 wins, 8 wins, you're probably going to see honorable mention and second team stuff at the best.
Mm-hmm. I kind of thought the same thing when I was posing that question. Like, I think it really depends on if we hit double-digit wins before bowl season. If we hit 10, I think, to your point, Trevor, I think the first, second honorable mention is littered with purple W's. But if we hit 9, I'm just not sure how many are going to be in.
Like, how many of these games is Washington going to give up more than 3 touchdowns to?
Oregon,
I see
Indiana.
Oregon, Indiana, USC.
Maybe Nebraska. Maybe.
It's on the road.
I don't see this team. And then you take the teams that they're going to just beat up on and really control. Take out the 3 games that they're just going to roll through. I mean, you're going to be sitting around giving up 20 to 24 points a game, I think.
Or less. If you take out like the
Right.
last two games of the season, my hope for the Dogs would be like 17 is probably going to be the
Right.
per point against average.
Yeah, I just think like the Big Ten, like the USC is going to score. Washington's going to have to score against them. They're going to have to
Hmm.
score against Indiana. They can slow down Indiana specifically because they're more of a run heavy team.
Hmm.
Um, but outside of that, in that Big Ten, there's not a lot of offenses that are going to scare you because they are the type of defenses that need to run the ball, and Washington is going to be able to stop the run.
Hmm. Okay. Any surprises? Surprise stars, breakout stars that we may have touched on a little bit, but like maybe Husky Nation doesn't really know these names yet. Who are some stars to be on the lookout for that no one's heard of yet? Coach, I'll start with you.
That's tough. I think we talked about everybody. I don't know. There's certain times where like a young player midway through the season gets an opportunity because of injury. I know I didn't even mention him earlier. Kasani Giles, whether he's playing the corner or the nickel, I think he's a really interesting kid, and he probably hasn't made a lot of waves yet. But I think in mid-season, you might look around and be like, oh, yeah, we got him from IMG. Yeah, okay, yeah, I know
Hmm.
that kid.
Hmm.
Um, Elias Johnson as well. Like I'm specifically talking about if guys like Robinson or Carnley get dinged up. Um, I really, I'm gonna keep beating the drum for Omar Khan because I feel like this is going to be a really good opportunity for him to just get fully immersed and get out on the field and make impact plays in the run game. And then, turn it loose a little bit in the pass rush when he has an opportunity. I think he's going to play in a lot of heavy sets. I think when you see third down and short, second and short, those type of things, go, fourth and one, I think that is his opportunity to get in there, just knife in and make plays and blow stuff up. So Omar Khan, really big fan of his. I'm waiting to see him shine this year. And I think, those are my guys right now.
Trev?
So mine was going to be Omar Khan. I was just thinking about how much of like a wrestler he was when he was in high school, and how you're still haven't seen him more than just a little bit so far in his
Right.
career. Where I think this could be year three is kind of that year where it's kind of a make or break, where a defensive lineman's going to turn the corner and become somebody and be in the rotation. And I thought that would, that's who I had tabbed down as the guy that I'm hoping takes that big step forward to just continue to make that defensive line room like just one of the best in the conference.
Hmm. That's surprises. Those are just like names that we haven't heard of yet that we're really excited for. So, who do you think, if we have to think about, let's manifest at least 10 and 2, who's the MVP on this defense?
Ooh, 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 ooh. X-Ray Alexander. I think he's so versatile right now. I mean, he could probably come off the edge. He could play inside, outside. He seems to be the most sideline to sideline instinctive dude. Veteran presence. I feel like the emotional leader, just whatever you want to say. I think that he's the dude that steps up and just takes over the leadership mantle. But also, feel like Zay's the best player on the field, which is wild to say because we've got some really good defensive players.
So I was going to say Zadris, but since you sort of took him, I'm going to go to the back and I'm going to say Alex McLaughlin. He stays healthy. He's the quarterback of the back end, and he plus the corner play stays at least at the level of Price Hawk and Davis. You have yourself an elite pass defense as well, and I think he's the leader of that defense of
For
that.
the 20 minutes last season we had Takario Davis, he was amazing. And I'm just, sad
Didn't
to
that
see him
suck?
go, obviously.
Yeah, that sucked. Especially against doing it against UC Davis and hurting himself.
Yes. Yeah, let's manifest that nobody gets hurt with stupid injury against a dumbass team this year.
Yeah, when
It
you're up
was Quentin Moore,
60.
Sicario Davis, none of that. None of that this year. Mine was going to be Alex McLaughlin too, Trev. Um, I'd probably just go with the entire defensive line because if they're really on it, if everyone's healthy, everyone's rested, everyone's getting their snaps and good times, I think it creates problems for the entire offensive line, no matter who they're playing. Particularly, I'm really looking ahead to USC because I think it's strength on strength. And if the Huskies can steal one in the Coliseum, it spells good things for the rest of the year. But I'm thinking the defensive line collectively might be the MVP this year. But I
Well,
do
and
also.
that's a really interesting one as well because as talented as like you go to the end of the season, let's say they're sitting at 2 losses, and you're heading to Eugene. The one place that gives me a lot of pause about, that matchup is the fact that you do have a strength in the defensive line, and as of right now, and who knows what it'll be by then, but by all accounts, probably their weakest unit right now is their offensive line. That's a matchup that Washington might be able to exploit.
Especially on the last game of the season. They might be tired, they might be injured, who knows?
Yeah, for sure.
So, anything else to add before we wrap tonight, guys?
You gonna rap? Trevor, are you gonna rap?
Dun 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 dun.
I can't
No,
think.
thank God for all of us, Trevor is not going to rap.
Yeah.
I mean, I really hope he was gonna get canceled.
No, it was canceled week one, and I
That's
don't
right.
think besides coach's snafu with calling our league the Pac-10, I don't think anyone got canceled
So
tonight. It's
far, so
probably because
good.
Jake's not here.
Yeah, we should probably. It means
You know,
we
when
should probably
Jake's
wrap it up
canceled.
before we get canceled.
Exactly. Well, that'll do it for another episode of Fourth and Inches, a Husky podcast. Please rate and review 5 stars our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or your preferred platform. Go hit subscribe on our YouTube channel, Fourth and Inches, a Husky podcast J3X. Check us out on Patreon and consider supporting our work at $5 a month. We will be back next week to preview the Apple Cup. It's the first time the Dogs have hosted the Cougs since 2023 and the first ever Sunday Apple Cup. We will predict scores and manifest the first string offenses and defenses not playing the second half at all. Until then, for Coach V and Trevor Mueller, I am UW Leah. The defense has a lot of talent and experience, which makes me a little nervous because now we have a lot to expect out of them. Let's hope they can deliver and remain consistent at home and on the road, and it all starts with shutting Wazoo all the way down in 11 days. Thanks for listening, Purple Gang. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Shout out JCap.
Go
Shout out Mike
Dogs.
and Glenn.